Are you overwhelmed by the news cycle, finding yourself oscillating between angry, terrified, empowered, and stifled? Every hour is something else, and most days it feels like it's too much to even process any of it, and so we process none of it. Up is down, left is right, and there's no playbook. Maybe you're like me and you downloaded the 5 Calls app, and you felt this wave of empowerment that was very quickly drowned out by the sheer amount of things happening in our world and in our country. It reminds me of the saying, nobody is coming to save you. Well, it's true. We have to save ourselves, and I've never believed that more than I do now. Who am I? Great question. My name is Molly. I come from a long line of bartenders, bootleggers, union organizers, and entertainers. From jail cells to dancing shoes at the Smithsonian, my bloodline has graced many rooms with our presence, not always to the liking of its owners. When I was a kid, my mom would call me the Queen of the Justice League, and it wasn't a compliment. My mom was a fierce defender of what was right, but sometimes it was a little too fierce. That tight upper Irish lip is no joke. If you know, you know. Kathleen Agnes Flanagan wasn't soft, but she was an artist, and she raised me to care for others, even though she wasn't so great at caring for me. I've always pushed against the status quo, whatever it was. I've always been obsessed with free speech and pushing the envelope, making waves, and making people a little uncomfortable while also making them laugh. It's probably a trauma response, but it works. I'm the youngest of 4 from a big Irish Catholic family. Our love language is sarcasm. I'm so Irish that I used to play the tin whistle and the concertina. You probably don't even know what that is. And I used to dance at the White House for Ronald Reagan when I was a kid. I'm that Irish. I'm so Irish, I thought Jesus, Mary, and Joseph were cousins for the first half of my life. But when I was a kid, my parents took part in a program called Children of the Crossfire, and every summer, 2 kids from Belfast, Ireland would spend the summer with us, a Catholic and a Protestant. At a very young age, I understood that life wasn't the same for all kids. Some of us were making bombs and attending funerals of friends as a child, and some of us were sneaking snacks and talking shit. I'll let you guess which category I fell into. That experience shaped me as a human, and while my parents and I do not feel the same about things, they are 100% to blame for how I turned out, so the joke's on them. Dad is a 2-time Vietnam vet and swift boat captain, and both of my brothers served in Desert Storm. My family's commitment and sacrifice to this country is not in question here. I am a proud American, but I'm also a scared American. Those roots laid the path for who I am today. I have owned a multimedia company for 25 years, and I have always worked to create platforms for people to amplify their voice. Everyone has a voice, and everyone uses theirs a little differently. The tagline for my company, Heartcast Media, is "Listening is the Revolution," and I've never believed it more than I do today. I'm also from D.C., and it's not a fucking swamp, you heathens. It's a beautiful city filled with the smartest, most worldly people I know. And it's a community that has lived there for hundreds of years, and it's the best community in the country. And if you don't know about that, I feel sorry for you. I love DC because of the people in it, not in spite of. But that also means that I have access to the smartest people I know, and in this current regime, it's more important than ever for me to use my privilege, my media company, my production team, my marketing chops, and my Rolodex. And yes, I'm that old to do something impactful. I personally know so many insanely smart people in specific areas who I can interview and ask the questions that you want to know. I will interview immigration attorneys about our rights. I will talk with political campaign people to get info on how to run effectively. I will talk to the people who know the answers and can give us actionable items to effectively rage against the machine. If you're like me, I need tasks. Give me a list and I'll crush it. Call 5 people, done. But quite frankly, Eleanor Holmes Norton's office probably thinks I'm a fucking lunatic at this point. There has to be more that we can do, and this podcast hopes to provide just that, a plan. This podcast will not be about me. It's going to be about our guest, and the goal is for you to be able to search through the episodes and find the truth about very specific topics, not my opinions on them. Worried about traveling? I'm going to have an episode on that. What should you do with your phone? What should you do with this? Etc. It's going to be very specific and only the answers, no opinions. Here's the thing. I'm not an educated woman. I'll never claim that I am. I'm street smart. I'm a hustler. I'm intelligent, but I am not educated. I left home at 17 and bought my first house at 23. I've lived in my car as an adult twice, and I've worked hard for everything in my life, the good and the bad. I've had countless spinal surgeries and lived through all of that alone. When I was born, they told me I wouldn't live 20 years. I had a team of doctors at Bethesda Naval my entire childhood, and they got it all wrong. Here, I'm still here, and I'm taking that as a sign that I'm not done yet. I'm a little nervous to do this podcast, I'm not going to lie. I know what's going to happen, but I've faced my maker enough times to do it anyway. This podcast, though, is not about me at all. I'll be the comic relief asking all the questions that hopefully you want to ask too. And hey, send me your questions and I'll find the right people to answer those questions. And also, it's not just me. There's going to be a few different hosts because there are conversations that need to take place and they need to happen with specific people, and those aren't always my conversations to have. Our goal is to empower you instead of overwhelm you. Because of my experience in podcast production and growth, I have crafted a plan to get this information to as many people as possible. We have created a Substack for the podcast so people can donate to the mission. 100% of those funds will go into paid media for the podcast so it can get to thousands of people in every episode. With your help sharing and some paid media, the podcast can get to millions of people very quickly. My company is going to cover all the production costs, and so you have my word that every single penny of the donations will go to paid ads, and I will share the reports with the people who subscribe or publicly. Anybody, you can see them. But you will see dollar to dollar, cent to cent, every single one of them is going to go towards paid ads. I'm not going to lie. There's a big part of me that doesn't want to do this. I had this plan, and then I started to get scared, and I thought, I'm not going to do this. And then I had a really bad interaction with ICE at the Miami airport. In fact, some of you listening probably found me because of that story that I shared this week. And the only thing I can think is this: if I get out of here and I get my feet back on soil again, I'm starting that fucking podcast. Because, yeah, they got me. They scared me. They did. They won. But you know what? I got a lot more voice than they do. And even when they were interrogating me in the airport, when they asked me what I did for a living and I told them I owned a media company, they stopped asking me questions. Who's scared now? So, having said all of that, thank you for listening this long. I hope you subscribe and share it with your friends. I hope you join the little Substack thing and give a couple bucks a month. Or I don't even know how it works, but I'm going to figure it out, right? I want this to be a bipartisan podcast, which will be very hard, admittedly. But if we can reach anyone who is starting to stray, I call that a win. I don't hate anyone, but I am terrified by what's happening. So if you lean right and you're still listening, please stick around. On the same note, if you leave shitty comments or troll or just generally act like a dick, I'll block and delete you so fast. I don't care. I'm not creating a platform for your bullshit. I am not a safe space for you. Period. Okay, so just understand that. I'm an imperfect human trying to do something good. And if you're not on that page, then you're not welcome here. But I'm pretty sure if you've listened this far, you're here for it. And you're going to stand side by side. And we're going to fight this thing. And we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to do it together. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And again, if not now, when? And if not us, who?